Hey guys, it is Mike with Become the Night. Welcome back to the Become the Night Snobcast. Today we have lead singer and guitarist of the band Axios, Jake Mikolas, with us today. Jake, how are you doing, brother?
Good. How about yourself?
Oh, dude, I don't know how I'm able to do anything.
Yeah, I feel you, man. It's been a long week, so I'm definitely with you on that one.
For real, for real. I appreciate you carving out the time to come on, man.
Hey,
It's
man,
awesome.
like, thank you for having me on. Like, we really appreciate the opportunity, and like, we're just glad to be doing this.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Axios, your band. How many band members?
There are 5 band members. So there are 2 guitar players, including myself, a drummer, a keyboard player, and a bassist.
Excellent, excellent. And you are self-described progressive metal?
Yeah, like progressive rock, progressive metal. We're kind of on that thin line. Like, if you listen to one song, you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely progressive metal. And if you listen to another one, you're like, oh, like I don't know, like maybe that's early progressive rock, maybe that's somewhere in between. We're kind of in the middle.
I feel you. Actually, a lot of the stuff that I'm writing kind of falls in like a weird middle ground too, where
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of strong rock elements, but there's definitely a lot of strong metal elements and just kind of prog sprinkled in between. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't really describe it with one word. You're like, yeah, like we kind of sound like this, but we kind of sound like that. You just got to listen to it.
Yep. Yep. That's the worst too, because it makes it so hard to market.
Exactly. I totally agree.
So, some influences of yours, what I'm hearing, I'm definitely hearing some Tool. I'm also hearing some Serge Tankian in the vocals for sure. And Porcupine Tree, is that in there?
Oh yeah, definitely. Steven Wilson is my guy, so that he's my number one right there. So that is totally on the dot right there.
And see, like I was gonna say, like maybe a hint of Opeth, but I was like, no, that's probably just Steve Wilson.
That you're not wrong though, because Opeth, especially with this recent record, the debut record, we listened to a lot of Pale Communion, a lot of Sorceress,
Yeah.
a lot of their recent stuff, and that was definitely an influence on the sound that we were going for.
Dude, I don't know what it was, but Sorceress, I tried listening to like 5 of the tracks, and just in the first minute, I was like, skip. I couldn't.
Yeah, see, for me, I can feel that. My bass player and my other guitar player love that album, and I'm definitely more of a Pale Communion guy. But
Same.
as far as the aesthetic of the sound, that those 2 albums were like, yeah, like if we're looking for a reference, let's go back to these guys.
Okay. Yeah, and based upon what I've listened to, I could definitely see that. That would be a better comparison than say like Blackwater Park or.
Oh
like,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely nothing earlier Opeth. Like I love Opeth, but that's definitely not the sound that we are.
I wish, you know.
I cannot. I wish I had his vocal style. Like there's no way I can pull that off.
I don't know anyone that can pull that off besides him, but
yeah, he's number one. He's number one. He's got to do it.
Yeah. So how long have you been playing guitar?
I've been playing guitar for, let's see, I'll be 25 next month. So about 12, 13 years, somewhere give or take in between.
All right.
Yeah. So it's been a long journey.
Oh, for sure. Oh, trust me, it doesn't get any shorter.
Keep going.
But how long has the band been together?
We've been together since about March of 2016. So the album came out actually on our 2-year anniversary.
So you guys are like really young.
Yeah, we're super young in the scene, and we're like, as far as our ages go, we're pretty young compared to some of the other acts around us.
Yeah, how is the prog scene in Chicago? That's something I'm not familiar with at all.
It's underground. It's definitely hard to find other bands, but it's like if you're combing through, like you can find some great. I actually just found a new band this morning. That's a great like post-rock, post-metal band that I'm trying to hook up with, and so it's difficult to find other bands, but if you find them, they're killer. They're awesome groups.
Hell yeah. Do you guys get a lot of prog shows, or is it kind of like splattered here and there, and like you got to tag on to like maybe some metal shows, maybe some more rock shows?
We've had a couple really cool prog shows. Probably the coolest one we did was back in December. We opened for Angel Vivaldi, Andy James.
Oh, no shit. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was an awesome show. Like we really appreciated the opportunity to open for those guys and hang out with them like prior to the show. It was super cool.
That is really cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And Chicago's a good city as far as every kind of music goes, because you always have those acts running through there, like big acts from every genre.
Oh yeah, especially like at least from our area, like where I live outside of the city, like Veil of Maya and Born of Osiris are actually like from here, and so you can find like my guitar player ran into the drummer from Born of Osiris, I think like 3 weeks ago, just out and about.
Awesome.
It's like, hey dude, like what's going on? And he's like, oh, like we just got back from tour, so we're just chilling.
Yeah, I know many friends who would be super jealous of that encounter.
Yeah. Like he texted us, he's like, I think I just ran into the guy from Born of Osiris. We're like, what, really? He's like, yeah, I think so.
That's freaking awesome, dude. You guys been touring at all or getting ready to?
We are, we're still trying to build a fan base out here and like try to secure our spot, like kind of in the scene, and we're working really hard. We got a lot of summer shows lined up, a lot of festival gigs that we're really looking forward to. Hopefully, if we get a lot of interest, we'll like kind of branch out to maybe like Wisconsin, Iowa, Indiana, try to like, scope out a little bit. But as far as like touring, like, East Coast, West Coast, like that's a far off dream that we're still waiting on.
Far off, yay, nay. But
yeah,
if you ever do roll through Nashville, I might be able to shop your stuff around. I know a couple of prog bands here. Might be able to throw a show together.
Hey man, well, Nashville's not too far. It's only a couple hours, so
it's like 8 hours. I only remember that because what was I gonna say? Yeah, when I first moved here, I saw Dream Theater was playing in Chicago, and they weren't playing anywhere else closer. And I was like, how far?
When was that? Because I probably was at that show.
Chances are, was it 20? Been here 4 years, so it's the very beginning of 2014.
Okay, I don't remember what tour that was, so that probably wasn't me because I think that was way past when Portnoy left. So
yeah, no, it was. It was like February of that year.
Yeah, I saw them last October, so that was a really, really cool show. It was the first time I'd seen them in a while. So
hell yeah, but that was during their pardon me, their last album tour, right? It was during that tour. What the fuck is the name of that album? Astonishing.
Okay, yeah.
I've heard mixed reviews on that one actually.
I'm a huge Dream Theater fan. I've been listening to them since I was about 14-ish, 13, 14, and it's a good album. It's just way too long for my tastes. It's like 2 hours long.
I can agree with that to an extent. Because I mean, how much did they actually say?
Yeah. And that's coming from like, a guy that listens to progressive music like all the time, and even I'm like, yeah, that's just a little too long, guys.
Oh, speaking of a little too long, did you see my review on Echoes by Pink Floyd for Song Suggestion Friday?
I don't recall. I may have. If not, I'll have to go check it out in a little while.
Let's just say I was not pleased. Let's just say that.
You're just like, where did this go, guys?
You should watch it. This is
I'll put that on my list for a little while later.
I pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like Echoes is kind of one of those don't touch me tracks.
Yeah, well, it deserves to be touched. It definitely does.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what the context is. But either way. Yeah, so as far as that goes, I actually really liked Astonishing quite a bit. I thought there were some beautiful songs on there. Really, really beautiful. I would probably agree that like there was a number of songs that could have been cut or just, I don't know. The whole story that they told could have been really interesting and really cool. And it just the ending was so shit.
Yeah, like I don't know, like they've had some really amazing conceptual pieces and conceptual albums over the past 20 years, and for me I just didn't connect with it as much as some of the other ones. So
For real,
it's still good if it pops on. Like my drummer is a huge Dream Theater fan, and if it pops on, we'll listen to it. I'm just not going to seek it out on my own.
Yeah, I feel you. There's a couple of tracks on there I do, for sure.
Yeah,
but
there's always a couple.
Do you have a favorite Dream Theater album?
I was just actually talking about this earlier today with one of my coworkers. I would have to say that Octavarium probably is my number one.
It's a good choice.
The album that came out right after Systematic Chaos is like
Black Clouds and Silver Lining.
Black Clouds and Silver Linings was right after Systematic Chaos, I think, because that was the right before Porno had left. But Systematic Chaos holds because that was the first album that I had by them and the first tour that I saw them on. So that one holds a little bit of a special place, but I think Octavarium overall is the best music that they put out and the best technical playing that they had. But
I love Octavarium. What was it called? Is it Fortunate Son? Not Fortunate Sons. The one about dead soldiers.
Sacrifice Sons.
Yeah. That one I wasn't a huge fan of, but the rest of the tracks are really good. Really good.
I'd have to agree with that for the most part. I think it's just a little drawn out for that track, but then it goes into Octavarium and I don't care anymore because it's just that song is just amazing.
Oh, the song Octavarium? Yeah. That thing's game changing.
Yeah, that's a perfect progressive masterpiece, and if anyone says otherwise, they're wrong.
Yep. Yep. I mean, even if you don't like prog, I think you can get into that song.
Exactly. It seems like it's long. You're like, oh man, 24 minutes. How can you listen to that? And then you listen to it. You're like, I did not even notice that almost a half an hour passed by after I was listening to this.
With one caveat, you can ditch the frickin' synthesizer bullshit in the beginning.
See, I think that's really cool, the way that they did it. But I always kind of draw back to, because it sounds like the beginning of Shine On You Crazy Diamond, or
sounds exactly what I was thinking.
Sounds like the beginning of Tarkus by Emerson, Lake and Palmer. There's a lot of early progressive sounds or songs that use that swell in.
Yes. And that's kind of where I kind of felt like it was almost a trope.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same point, even if you just cut it down to a minute,
Yeah, especially when you get to the live version and it's 6 minutes of that before they get to the normal section.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're gonna do what they want to do. So
as long as it's followed up by the rest of it being amazeballs, I'll give it a pass.
Yeah. Exactly. That's usually how it happens.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that's freaking sweet, man. As far as Opeth, what's your favorite Opeth album if you had to pick one?
That's hard. For me, if I'm really looking to go back to the death metal stuff, it would have to be Blackwater Park, or the name is escaping me right now. Watershed.
Watershed was great.
Yeah, Watershed's amazing. But Pale Communion for me was the one that really stuck with me, especially because it has a lot of progressive roots and it sounds just like it was recorded in 1974 or 1975.
Oh yeah.
And the writing on it, super cool. Just their abilities on it, really shine on it. That one is my personal favorite, but I love a lot of their earlier work. And
wow, Pale Communion's your personal favorite?
Yeah, I would have to say that's probably my personal favorite. But like I said, if I'm going for the death metal stuff, the earlier work, it would probably be Blackwater Park or Watershed.
I feel you. I mean, I love Pale Communion. I don't know if I could call it my favorite, just because there's a lot of songs on Blackwater Park that have a very strong place in my heart. But that's also it's the first album of theirs I listened to. So
of course, that's the same for me. I remember like being on like forums and message boards and being like, oh yeah, I need a new band. They're like, oh yeah, like check this band out, and it'd be like Harvest or the Drapery Falls, and I'd be like,
oh. Drapery Falls, man, that bass line in the intro though.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah, but as far as Pale Communion goes, I mean, I was for the 3 that they've done so far that are more prog rock, I'd say that's by far their best one.
Yeah, I would have to agree. When they did Heritage, I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then like after listening to it a couple times, I was like, there's only like 1 or 2 tracks on this that I really like listening to, and the rest are kind of whatever. Like it's still cool, I still dig it, but I'm like, they could have done better. And then Pale Communion comes out, I listen to that like constantly. Like I have that in my car as one of my rotation CDs, and like, yeah, I agree that as far as the 3 prog year albums, that one's probably their top one.
I misspoke. It should be 4. Damnation is also on there, I suppose you could say.
Yeah, I could see that. I would agree with that. Like Damnation is definitely when they started heading in that direction.
And even then, I mean, I kind of love Damnation. It might be my favorite. I haven't decided yet.
I'd have to ask some of my other bandmates, because like especially my bass player loves Opeth, so he'd have a hard time picking a favorite.
Dude, it's so tough.
Yeah,
it really is. I can tell you which ones aren't my favorite. You know,
like that's a little easier because you're like, oh, like which ones don't I like? Like probably like this one or maybe this one, and you got it.
Yeah.
They don't really have too many bad albums. Like maybe some of their really early work, like prior to Blackwater Park, doesn't hit too much for me, but
it's really interesting hearing the stuff prior to Blackwater Park and being like, wow, that's what they listened like. Wow, good job, Mike. That's what they sounded like before they got fucking Steven Wilson involved. Like,
yeah,
wow.
Like, oh, like they got this guy involved on production, and they turned into an amazing production band, and you can listen to it and be like, yeah, this sounds great.
My freaking I'm sure I've told this story before, but my friend's dad, who like his dad and I are now much closer friends than he and I are.
Nice.
He got his dad into the Metallica S&M album, and that was kind of like the gateway drug for me to start squeezing in prog metal. And he fucking loves Opeth now. The dude's like 60 something.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Like a bunch of my friends, like their parents are really into progressive music, or I know a lot of like older. My girlfriend's dad is actually super into progressive rock, so when we started dating, like her dad and I connected really quickly just based off of music tastes.
That is so fucking convenient. I gotta say.
Yes, you like all of this stuff too, and he's like, oh yeah, like it's great.
Oh gosh. I would only hope and pray that my girlfriend's dad might one day actually like music like that. But
yeah, you can only hope
and pray. Only hope and pray.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, yeah. So I think here might be a decent place to take a quick break. But yeah, we will be right back with Jake from Axios. Please stick around.
Cool.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Snobcast. Again, here with Jake from the band Axios. So, what would you say is your band's primary source of income right now?
Primary source of income? That would definitely just be like us working, like our day jobs, and
well, specifically the band, not necessarily as individuals.
Oh, the band, that would probably be playing shows, selling merchandise at shows. Like we just got our first round of physical copies for the CDs a couple weeks ago, so we've been handing those out, like selling them, and so that definitely has added a lot to our bank numbers.
Hell yeah. I mean, of course, there's a little bit of upfront investment, but, you know, worth it.
Yeah, you know, you gotta, we saved up a lot of money to go into the studio, so it's like we knew going up that we were going to drop a lot of money getting physical CDs, but for us, that was really important to do.
For sure. For sure, for sure. Which, as far as the album goes, you said it was your drummer who did the production on it.
Yeah, him and I like shared co-producing roles, because I had written a lot of the lyrics for the music, and like we all wrote the music together. Like everyone kind of put all their influences together when we were crafting all the music. But as far as production went, like I had kind of the vision for what I wanted it to sound like, and my drummer kind of agreed, and so we worked together on it, and I think it worked really well. We really didn't have a lot of disagreements as far as what sound goes where, or if we wanted to add certain things or vocal harmonies. It was a really smooth process, which we were very lucky to have.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Especially when you do something more on the prog side. Very difficult, or not difficult, very easy to get bogged down in the details.
Oh yeah. Like the third track on the album is an instrumental track, and probably about two minutes in, there's like a slower, like less heavy part, and we were just sitting there for a while, like what can we put here that's gonna make it sound a little bit better? And we sat there with like a 48 key like MIDI board just for hours, just like maybe this will sound good, maybe that will sound good, and like for a while we didn't know what we were gonna do, and we're just like, oh, you know what? Let's do this. We found a sound that we liked, and we're like, yep, that's it. Like, let's go with it.
Rock and roll. Rock and roll. Yeah, I mean, it sounds really good. I have to say the production sounds fantastic. You guys definitely had some pro gear on there.
Thank you. We wanted to make sure that we gave a really good quality product for people that were going to listen to it, especially because we knew we were going to be streaming it through like Spotify and Amazon, iTunes.
Especially if you're going to be charging people, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. If we're going to be charging people, we want to make sure that it's worth what we're charging.
Absolutely.
And we are very well aware of how these sites, and especially sites like YouTube and Facebook, can bog down the quality of the music that you're sharing with people.
Can it ever? Oh my God. They have their own, like, I forget what it was. Someone had a video. Oh God, I just got my headphone cord tangled. Sorry.
Been there.
But and someone did a video where they like uploaded and downloaded from YouTube, like I think it was like 100 times or something, to listen to like a facsimile of a facsimile of a facsimile. You know what I mean? To see what the YouTube compression and conversion does to audio, and it was like total dog shit.
Oh yeah. I remember specifically being in a hearing class while I was in college, and we did something similar to that, where we had a program that would take a WAV file and then convert it to an MP3 file, but then it would give us another file of what that compression took away. And it was just, you could tell how much was being taken away by just general compression into an MP3 format. And it shocked me. I was like, oh man, like that's terrible.
When you say how much is taken away, what do you mean?
There was a lot of high frequency content that gets cut off when you have this uncompressed WAV file and you just shrink it down to an MP3 format. And it's got to shave a lot off the top to make sure that it works. And it's very surprising how much it takes away.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. You'd think there'd be a way to, like, you know how they have like a zip format?
Mm-hmm.
There'd be a way to have a high resolution track condensed down into like its most important parts, and then some way of like expanding it on a player when it needs to be played.
Yeah, sort of a Silicon Valley kind of concept, like a Pied Piper format.
What do you mean?
If you're familiar with that show?
I'm not.
The basis for that show is just the guys have created a lossless conversion software that can take a huge file, shrink it down, and have no sort of quality loss, and that's sort of the basis. And I'm like, what? That would be great for music, and it doesn't exist yet.
It'd be amazing for music.
Yeah,
I heard it was either Neil Young or Neil Diamond. I forget which, but it was probably Neil Young. Honestly.
Yeah, probably Neil Young.
But he's like a huge audiophile, like a huge like lover of audio. And he's been working for like the last like 5 or 10 years on a high definition, like higher than wave definition portable audio player.
I will have to look into that to see how well he's coming along with that, because I do remember reading about that like a couple years ago, and I completely forgot about it until you just brought it up.
My friend's dad, who I was telling you about before, he reads audio. I think it's called Audiophile magazine.
Oh, okay.
And like, yeah, he's like all about that shit. We're talking about a dude who still has his Sansui from the 70s and still has his stacked Advents, the actual ones he bought when he was a teenager.
Yeah. I've had the pleasure of sitting in one of my college professors runs a high fidelity like stereo shop. And when we were in some of our classes, we would do the class in his shop. And he has quadrastatic speakers from like the 70s, 60s or 70s. I don't remember when, but like they're like 20 grand pair of speakers, and they're amazing to listen to. But it's just like, I'm like, I can't justify paying for that. So I'll just enjoy the experience right now.
Wow, we got pretty far off topic. Sorry.
It's all good, man. It's all about music. So
as far as your band's income, what other options have you guys explored? Like, what ideas have you come up with?
We're going into other merchandise right now, like T-shirts, and actually a really cool thing that we were able to do recently. My other guitar player works at a like confectionery store, like so popcorn, ice cream, coffee, like that kind of place. And the popcorn makers there actually helped make us a personal popcorn flavor. So I'm not kidding. We have our own branded popcorn flavor that we can sell at shows. So that's
ridiculous.
It's really cool, and it's pretty unique for something around here.
It's unique in general.
Yeah.
I don't know many bands that is like, hey, buy our CDs, our shirts, and also our branded popcorn.
Yeah, have this popcorn. Like, you'll love it.
Am I allowed to ask what it tastes like?
It is the standard one that we have right now is a blue.
Oh, there's more than one flavor for your band?
Well, we have a blue raspberry one, and then we have one that has like a chocolate drizzle on it, but the original one was just the straight blue raspberry one.
Dude, blue raz with chocolate drizzle.
Yep.
Oh, we're gonna call that Axios from now on.
We call it Prog corn.
Prog corn.
Because we have to be really stupid about it. So we wanted to
love it.
Like a convenient name for it.
I fucking love it. I was gonna say, if you were gonna call it Axios flavor, I would say Axios is synonymous with like amazeballs.
Yeah.
Blue raspberry and chocolate. Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah. It's super cool. And then we're going into other merchandise. We have a lot of stickers and t-shirt ideas that we're going to be rolling out hopefully soon once summer kicks in and we get more shows and more income that we can freely put it back into the band.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Have you guys considered doing anything like Patreon or a YouTube channel or anything?
We haven't actually considered doing Patreon yet. We did a GoFundMe when we were doing the album, like sort of as a pre-order for the album. And that worked really well. So I'm sure if we were doing a Patreon to like kind of get like a gauge of, hey, like if we had this kind of shirt, like who would want it? Or if we had this kind of merchandise, like who would want that? So it's a lot of learning experience is going to happen over the next like 6-7 months as a lot of this stuff is rolled out.
Oh, for sure. For sure. That's actually one of my strategies was, building an audience before going out there and trying to make an album. Cause like I've had these songs quote unquote written, even though they're all changing drastically right now.
Yeah.
But I've had them quote unquote written for like a number of years. And I was just like, Do I release the album and try and make it as best I can by myself and then try and peddle this to people? Or do I build the audience first? And I was actually kind of shocked. I didn't expect to get this large of an audience this quickly.
Hey man, you do well for yourself and you put in the work and you get rewarded for it.
Freaking A. I don't know what you guys see in me, but it's whatever. I'll just fucking accept it. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, it's
but,
like we enjoy watching good content, and that's what we get. So
yeah, you were saying that you and your drummer are a fan of the channel.
Yeah, we definitely are. So if anyone's watching, you better like and subscribe to the channel, like we definitely did.
Oh, if anyone's watching, you better go buy the fucking album, buy Axios album. If we're gonna be doing cross promotion here.
Yeah.
Go buy the fucking album. Pause this. Go buy.
Yeah, you can find it on Amazon or just find us on Facebook and we'll send you a CD.
Or you could conveniently find us in the links below.
Yeah.
No big deal. Could do that, which, yeah, send me your links after this is done.
Yeah, you'll get the links.
For sure. So as far as getting the band started, how did you guys get together? Because I know I get a lot of questions from people that are like, I live in Easterbrook, Tennessee. How do I get a band together? You know?
So it's another Steven Wilson related story. I had actually seen him in like February of 2016. And around that time I was in a punk band that I was.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, like it was a lot of fun. It was like with a lot of close friends that I was in college with, and we had a good time. But after that last Steven Wilson show, I was like, you know what? Like, if I'm really gonna sink my teeth into doing like a progressive rock group and like it's stuff that I've loved for a long time and had a lot of writing in, I'm like, I better do it now or else I'm never gonna do it. So
True.
I kind of like partially quit the punk band. Like I didn't do it officially until a couple months later. And then I just found, you know, there were a couple friends that I had already that were into progressive rock music. Our keyboard player I had known for a couple years, and a guitar player that started off with the band I had known for a couple years as well. The original bass player and then our drummer I found on Facebook through a musician network group. I'm sure that like if you're in a big city like New York or Philadelphia or Nashville, I'm sure that you can find like a group on Facebook that is just dedicated to like networking with musicians and stuff. And so that's just what I did. I found a Chicago networking page and was like, hey guys, like I'm looking to start a progressive rock band that's in this vein that sounds like Steven Wilson or Tool, Opeth, Coheed and Cambria, like those kind of bands. And if you're interested, like let me know. And I was able to find like a great group of musicians to work with. And there were a couple lineup changes, like a couple months in, and we've been pretty steady since last January, I'd say.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Rock and roll, man. Yeah, I don't know. I've tried doing not necessarily Facebook groups or anything, but I've tried the Craigslist thing. Huge mistake.
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna get with that.
Yeah, I mean, no.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I might still try to put up my own like ads up there, like hey, looking for type of thing. But at this point, it might even be easier for me to do word of mouth. I'm finally like quote unquote in the prog scene now in Nashville. Like I know guys now, so and they know plenty of guys.
Yeah,
so I can kind of get cross done that way. As a matter of fact, there's actually this dude named Michael Trigo here, which if you I don't even remember how to spell his name, but regardless, he makes some really awesome music, and I think he's just doing the solo thing right now. He's not watching this, and I don't know if any of his friends are, but I'm gonna try and co-opt him for my band. Gonna try. He's really good. Super Opeth head, like super
nice.
So I think he would be a good fit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For all the watchers, it's like you just gotta try and see who's out there and see who's right next door. Like my drummer ended up living 2 minutes away from me. Like we had lived super close to each other the entire time, and we found out that we went to college together, and I'm pretty sure that we ran into each other at college a few times and didn't know who we were at the time.
Of course, that always
never
happens.
know.
So you said you met him at the Steve Wilson show, is that correct?
The Steven Wilson show is where I personally decided that I was going to start.
That's where you decided. Okay, my apologies.
No, it's all good.
But I was going to say another thing that I would always recommend to the youngsters is where do Prog people like to hang out? At Prog shows. Go find them there.
It's Prog shows. If you can find one, go to it. And there's plenty of bands, and especially underground bands, that you're not going to find them just through Live Nation events. You gotta put the work in to find that kind of scene.
Absolutely. But all right, I think that exhausts most of my questions about the band. Besides, what do you guys do outside of music?
For me, I spend a lot of time with my family, my girlfriend. I have a day job that takes up a lot of time throughout my week, and
it's the fucking worst, man.
Yeah, but I'm in audio visual stuff, so it keeps my ears trained throughout the week, when I'm not performing, and it provides for all my toys that I get to buy. So
something has to.
Yeah, I can't speak for the rest of the guys with what they do. I know that they have their own hobbies and stuff that they like to do outside of the band. But for me, it's hanging out with my girlfriend, my family, and seeing my friends on occasion and work.
You do anything in nerd culture, like video games, tabletop gaming?
My buddies and I will get on PlayStation 4 Network all the time, and we're in the middle of Monster Hunter World right now, so that's
nice.
That's kind of been taking our time up recently.
I understand that. I do. So. I can't justify playing video games right now, so
trust me. Sometimes I'll be on. I'm just oh man, I really should be doing something else, and then it'll be 4 hours later, be well, not doing that today.
Yep. I've had a handful of those in the past year, but mostly because I was sick.
Mm-hmm.
So I was getting back into Fallout New Vegas.
Oh yeah.
That's a dangerous game, my friend.
Yeah, I'm definitely an old RPG kind of guy, so it's when if I get stuck in playing Skyrim or any sort of Fallout game, it's well, you've lost me for about 5 days now.
Oh, for sure. Oh, do you ever mess around with any of the old school JRPGs?
I remember playing a lot of Final Fantasy when I was younger, and I never really got into some of the more classic JRPG stuff.
I'm not necessarily saying Chrono Trigger or Secret of Mana, while those are awesome. Those aren't ones that I've played.
Yeah. But yeah, JRPGs are definitely high on my list. If I find a good one, then I will definitely play those. I'm actually looking forward, because I'm a 90s guy. I'm looking forward to the remaster of the Spyro trilogy that's going to be coming out this year. That hit me hard when they're oh yeah, this is coming out. I'm yes.
So full disclosure, I only had a Nintendo 64 growing up in the 90s, not a PlayStation.
Hey, you still got a ton of legendary games off of that console. So
absolutely. But it's the people who are so stoked for this Spyro remaster, I'm just no offense.
Well, that happened with a buddy of mine last year when the Crash series came back. He's oh yeah, I only played one of them growing up. He's I really have no nostalgic attachment to this. I'm well, you're gonna go play it and you're gonna love it. So
yeah, I try to do that to people. A friend of mine has never played Majora's Mask before. She played and loved Ocarina of Time, but never Majora's Mask. So
see, like Ocarina is like one of my favorite games of all time. So
absolutely.
I was actually looking for my old Nintendo 64 yesterday, and I couldn't find it. So I still have to look for it at like my parents' house to see if I can start playing the old Zelda games. But yeah, Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, those are amazing. Like, if anyone has never played them, you have to go do it.
You have to do it at least to say that you did it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's one of those things you don't miss out on. And I think they did HD remakes for both of those. I think they're
Yeah, I
both for
think for
the
the 3DS, I think they did HD
yeah,
remasters for both of them. I'm not
correct.
like, don't quote me on that, but I fell off of Nintendo systems after the GameCube, I think.
I don't blame you. The only reason why I stay with them is because when I was in college, I smoked way too much weed and played way too much Super Smash Brothers Brawl. Like
Yeah.
I was annoyingly good at that game.
Yep, I have plenty of friends that challenge. They're like, "Oh yeah, like let's go play Smash," and I'm like, "You guys are gonna kick my ass. Like it's not even worth me playing right now."
I was that guy. I was in your position last time we played because it was with a couple of guys from Edge of Reality, local prog band here, and my drummer. And I got the piss knocked out of me because of all of the people who were playing, I was the only one that hasn't played a fucking video game in like months or
Yeah.
geez, yeah, like
You're
maybe
just
even more
like,
than that.
what are the controls again? Like, how do I do this?
I remember how to like work a controller. The issue is like, fuck, what are the moves again for each of the characters? Fuck. Okay, when do I use it? How? Oh shit, the timing. Where am I on screen? Oh fuck.
I'm already dead.
I mean, I was like, I wasn't just a pushover, but I definitely was not nearly as good as I was back in the day.
Oh yeah, I am so like, maybe it's just me and my like, I have horrible luck when it comes to any sort of competitive game because we definitely will be playing like Mario Party later with all the guys when they come over, and I'm sure I'll get the shit kicked out of me because I just like I'm never good at any of those.
Have you played the new Zelda?
I've played it at a buddy's house, but I don't have a Switch, so I have yet to like have it in my possession. But hopefully next year I'll invest a little bit of money and be able to, get back into Zelda like full time.
I'm waiting until I can justify the expense of a Switch and then getting Zelda and then also getting Mario Odyssey, getting all the classic games. I've also heard ARMS is really fucking good too.
I don't know what that is, so I'll have to look that up later.
It's like it's a fighting game, but it's all like punch based or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But you have to like look at it to really get it. There's actually some pretty cool stuff involved, like as far as strategy and like playing and shit.
Gotcha. Cool. I will definitely look that up later, like because I don't think I've heard of that one. So
for sure.
I don't have TV, so it's very hard for me to keep up with current trends sometimes.
Dude, I don't either. I'm basically strictly YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube and podcasts.
Yeah, like I have my internet, so it's like I use that for all of my stuff, and then like Netflix, and that's how I watch my TV.
Yup. Best decision was cutting the fucking cable, man.
Oh yeah, like I can't afford like who wants to pay for that? It's all the same stuff anyways.
Agreed. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, we're probably gonna have to call it here, but Jake, it was absolutely awesome having you on, man. Oh, sorry.
Like you go ahead, man.
All right. Guys, please go ahead and check out the links to Axios down in the description. Please go buy the new album, which you should have already done if you're still watching this podcast, because I commanded you. But Jake, really appreciate you being on, brother. It was awesome.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate coming on, and you guys like have a good rest of your day. Like, thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. We'll have to get you back on here and check in, see how things are going.
Yeah, definitely. We'd love to be back on. Hopefully, one of my other bandmates can join me next time.
Yes, we can make it a ruckus.
Yep.
All right, guys. You have a good one. See you in the next Snobcast. Rock on.